Welcome to Kerala's largest entrepreneurs convention with a global perspective, TiECon Kerala 2015. TiE, a global not-for-profit network of entrepreneurs and professionals, aims at fostering entrepreneurship globally through mentoring, networking, and education. TiE's focus is on generating and nurturing the next generation of entrepreneurs and offers a wealth of programs and services to its members to help them succeed in business. In spite of being educated, a large section of the youth of Kerala have traditionally been opting to work either within the country or have gone abroad in search of greener pastures. In order to foster entrepreneurship in young minds and to make them aware of the entrepreneurial possibilities within the state, TiE Kerala has been taking sustained efforts. It aims at transforming Kerala into a state of job providers rather than job seekers. Formed in 2003, TiE Kerala has been doing exceptionally well since its inception and has succeeded in nurturing a generation of great entrepreneurs. Immense networking opportunities, mentoring sessions, pitch fest, and one-on-one session with leaders are some of the highlights of the annual conference, TiECon, while providing an opportunity for entrepreneurs to widen their horizons through information and interaction. TiECon Kerala is into its 4th edition, and year after year, it has been getting bigger and smarter, providing a larger platform to the various stakeholders. Disruptive innovations are remaking the world, and it's probably one of the most important innovation theories of the last decade. Driving entrepreneurship through disruption is the theme of this year's conference. Well, when the event and its organizers are so special, can the venue be left behind? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful port city of Kochi for 2 days of fulfilling, rewarding, and worthwhile experience. Welcome to TiECon 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now move forward by inviting the dignitaries to the dais. I would request Mr. A.B. George, President of TiE Kerala, Mr. M.S.A. Kumar, Senior Vice President, and Mr. Rajesh Nair, Vice President TiE Kerala, to escort the dignitaries to the dais. Shri P.H. Kurian, IAS, Principal Secretary, Industries and IT Government of Kerala, is our chief guest of the day. At a time when people of Kerala had hardly heard about the concept of attracting youngsters to entrepreneurship, Shri Kurian, who was thinking, talking, and taking initiatives to nurture entrepreneurial skills in the youth of our state. In fact, he may rightly be called the father of this great idea of young entrepreneurship in Kerala. Please put your hands together to welcome Shri P.H. Kurian. Sri Shyam Srinivasan, Managing Director and CEO of the Federal Bank Limited, is our guest of honor. He took charge in 2010, equipped with the rich experience of over 20 years with leading multinational banks in India, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Hearty welcome to you, sir. Shri M.S.A. Kumar, Senior Vice President of TiE Kerala, who has over 4 decades of experience in working in multinationals, is now running his own talent development firm, Catalyst 360, specializing in CEO coaching and organization development. May I request Shri M.S.A. Kumar to welcome the dignitaries and our vibrant audience.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me give a warm welcome to all the participants who has come in large numbers for the 4th edition of TiECon Kerala. Without your continued participation, this kind of event cannot sustain itself. So first of all, a warm welcome to all of you. We have 2 dignitaries in the dais. First, let me I don't think both of them need any kind of introduction. First of all, let me welcome Mr. P.H. Kurian, Principal Secretary, Industries, Commerce and IT, for having come over here. And then welcome, sir. He has just returned last Saturday after a 10-day tour of Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore. And as we all know, the government of Kerala has been supporting entrepreneurship through various programs and initiatives. One of the most well-known program is the Student Entrepreneurship Policy, which was announced 3 years back. And every year they conduct Young Entrepreneurs Summit. And Tycon Kerala also has been supported all through the 4 years by Government of Kerala. Thank you, Mr. Kurian, and we look forward to a invigorating speech from you, as usual, in terms of what are the government policies and looking forward. Well, coming to other chief guest, Shyam Srinivasan, he is also well known as the Chief of Federal Bank. Warm welcome to you, Shyam. He has been a great advocate of entrepreneurship, and Federal Bank themselves have initiated a lot of actions on that front. I think the recent one, which is very laudable, is your skill development program. And he also, I don't know whether he felt it can be a disruption, but I saw this selfie stuff and all from your side, Shyam. I think Federal Bank has got a selfie scheme, which also is all driven by technology. Of course, many of you would have heard Shyam already. He is an eloquent speaker. And he also, I am a lover of acronyms, and he will definitely give some acronyms today, Shyam. I hope so. Recently, when we talked about mobile and technology and all, he told one thing which I like: digital to the core and human to the fore. So we were discussing in Thai, how does this guy get this kind of sudden brain waves, which is very good. So we look forward to your talk, Shyam. And as being part of the family, let's put our hands together to welcome to Shyam Srinivasan for this program. Since Federal Bank is a trusted banking partner of millions of Indians, I'm sure we also will get to continued support of Federal Bank for Tycon in years to come, and we look forward to that. This is the second year in succession they have been the presenting sponsor, and we are sure that this will go on an ongoing basis, not only in Tycon. We also are initiating a lot of, as you have seen from the AV, a lot of actions in terms of educating, mentoring, networking, incubators, accelerators, you name it. So we have been doing that, and we definitely look forward to working closely with Federal Bank. Before I conclude my welcome address, let me put 4 slides in terms of showing what disruption really means in terms of, can I have the first slide, please? Yeah, these are all known to us. Most known digital disruptions in the world, which of course we know. Uber, which is the world's largest urban transportation company, but doesn't own any vehicle. The most recent valuation as of March 2015 of Uber was 41.2 billion US, which in Indian rupees translates to 267,000 crores. Let's look at Facebook, world's most popular media owner, but creates no content. And no wonder Facebook acquired WhatsApp for close to 19 billion US dollars. Let's look at Alibaba, which every one of us know, who is the world's most valuable retailer, but maintains no inventory of a single item. Look at Airbnb. Many of you have heard about Airbnb, which is the world's largest lodging provider, but runs no property, doesn't own any hotels, which is today valued at about $20 billion. We don't have to go that far. We have Ritesh Agarwal, who is just 21-year-old youngster, who started Oyo Rooms, which you would have seen a lot of TV ads coming. I read one of his interviews. I heard he gave a good speech in Cochin in one of the advertising agencies' conference. In fact, in his interview, he told he could not go to many of these conferences which the Hotel and Restaurant Association used to conduct. And he used to go without this badge, and he used to walk in such a style, because he could not afford the registration fee. He used to walk in such a style that nobody will stop him thinking that he's a speaker. So this is a kind of an youngster who started it off and doing very well. Oyo Rooms you can see anywhere. It's also gaining speed. So basically, is it a question of disrupt or to be disrupted? We all know the Kodak story. In imaging vertical, they were number 1, but nobody remembers Kodak now. So either it is disrupt or be disrupted. Next, please. I just put it intentionally, because when it comes to Tycon, when it comes to disruption, when it comes to technology, people are always talking about information technology and ITES. Just visit this site. Recently, they have done in a country, Myanmar, with small farmers. Basically, it is precision agriculture using IT, which maximizes the output with lesser input, water, seed, fertilizer, and pesticides, name it, by mapping fields and using sensors. GPS mapping, irrigation sticks to know the water level, water table sensor for rice fields so that you don't over-irrigate a rice field, assessing of soil types, drainage rates, weather patterns. So basically the point here is, don't confine your power of new ideas to only things which are out on the surface. And this company has now started in Myanmar. First they went there, they asked the farmers, do you know how much is the area you have? Many of them didn't know. A simple thing, I mean, leave alone the soil status and all that. So basically there is a need to look at beyond the normal scope, and this is picking up. I'm not saying that nobody is doing any work in agriculture, because I got my friend Shivadas Menon here, is a great advocate of agricultural thing, and with his persuasion this year, we have the agricultural, the agripreneur in this same hall, Oman Hall, because we expect more participants to listen to the agricultural people and see how disruptions can be brought into the technology field. I'm also in the agricultural field, using spices, selling spices earlier before my retirement. It makes immense sense to use technology in agriculture for traceability, food safety, etc., etc. Let's look at the next slide. See, this is again, look at this. I mean, this is a New Yorker by name Cynthia. She traveled in India and found out that, look, I mean, we all know this. For us Indians, it's nothing new. But we had a New Yorker coming all the way and telling us, look, this is something which can be disrupted. This is called the water wheel, which can be done. Now, my junior from IIM Ahmedabad, Suresh, he is the guy from the Syntax. They are working on this idea, so he only sent me this. Basically, this can be given at a very low cost. And look at how comfortable it can be for a village, rural folks, in terms of carrying that heavy weight. So it's a very sturdy stuff, and this can be done. So what I'm saying is that since there are a lot of youngsters, we have the startup pavilion conclave this time. Look at ideas beyond the, I have nothing against IT, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know people like SR and all are sitting here and smiling. But please look beyond the normal IT thing and let's look beyond that. Also look at problems what you have. Just next slide, please. Yeah. Bookmybuy.com. India is the largest servant-dependent society in the world. I always used to wonder, if you go to big hotels, you go to the restroom, you find a guy standing there with the towel after you finish the job, and they are handing it over to you, and then he's putting it back. I always used to wonder why. I mean, can't we do it ourselves? So the point here is that we are highly servant-dependent, and through some cultural indications it came. But today, this is an emerging market. Because my wife is here, we don't get servants, reliable. So there are a lot of areas where, it's like what the CEO of, this furniture company, IKEA, told. The biggest demand for IKEA products here will be the shoe racks. Because he visited as a part of IKEA's entry into India, few households, and he could see shoe racks all kept on the side. So what I'm saying is that look for ideas, and work on that so that disruption is very good. And I know I posted this thing from when Uber was attacked, and PH was the first person to respond to my Facebook post when the disruption was disrupted by some elements. So, but I'm sure there will be areas to look at beyond the IT. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you, and let's make this successful. And Jimon and Rajesh will take you through the details of this great conference we have pieced together. Thank you very much, and warm welcome once again.
Thank you, sir. Mr. A.B. George, President of TiE Kerala and Chairman of Diversified Multi-Crow Business Group, ABG, presides over today's function. He is presently a member of Rubber Boot Government of India and also the Chairman of WWF India Kerala State Committee. May I request him to deliver the presidential address.
Mr. P.H. Kurian, Shyam Srinivasan, MSA, Rajesh, distinguished audience, and my young friends. We are living in very interesting times. The boom in entrepreneurship we see around us is a global megatrend, which we cannot ignore anymore. Every country which has created an environment conducive for small businesses and entrepreneurship development has been able to counter and overcome economic recessions and financial crises. This tectonic shift has also been witnessed in Kerala in the last few years. With a promising boost towards encouraging entrepreneurship and relentless support from our Honorable Chief Minister, we have seen a wave of entrepreneurs who are attracting attention from the rest of India and also the world. At TiE Kerala, we look at these positives with a keen awe. This outbreak has also led to a complete shift in business models and growth areas. One of the most spoken about management words in the past was strategy. But in the last 2 years, we have seen 2 new words that are hot. And they are the words of innovation and disruption. The traditional models of business are being discarded as we have new thoughts and ideas in every boardroom. Never have more radical changes come in at this breakneck speed. The first name which comes to our mind when we discuss a disruption is Apple. Apple has not only disrupted mobile telephony, but a host of industries. Today, a cell phone pushes the envelope in at least 24 industries. The traditional watch industry, music, calendars, business Rolodex, television, a handful which will have been threatened into obsolescence. Another company which is changing the landscape is Tesla, recently acclaimed the most innovative and disruptive company ahead of Apple and Google. The electric car and their Powerwall will not only disrupt the auto industry, but also affect a shift in power from oil-producing nations. You can imagine what that would be if the oil companies don't have anyone to buy their products. For the TiECon this year, we have decided to visit this topic in detail as we mull through and construct the conference in the last 3 years. We noticed that the participants and delegates are mostly between the age group of 35 and 40. But the maximum queries we get at TiE are for seed funding and mentoring are from a much younger set of entrepreneurs. We have decided to look at this group with more interest this year. The outcome of these discussions is the Startup Pavilion this year. We have more than 100 startups showcasing their plans and products. To provide further support, we have a host of investors and angels this year at the conference. The Indian Angel Network has agreed to partner with us to hear the pitches from some of the exciting ideas. While we hope that there is a lot of interest memorandum signed with the startups, we will also announce cash prizes for the presented ventures tomorrow. In fact, Jet Airways has offered a return ticket to Dubai and back for the beta level startups, the best, and domestic sector up and down ticket for the alpha level startups who comes first. We welcome you to hear, imbibe, pitch, and dream at TiE Kerala and promise you that we will do whatever we can to help you walk your dreams. Use these 2 days to network, practice your pitch with the investors, smoothen the rough edges, and take advantage of the insights to improve your ideas. May God bless you all in your entrepreneurial journey. Create wealth for yourself and for others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are fortunate to have Sri P.H. Kurian, IAS Principal Secretary, Industries and IT Government of Kerala, as our chief guest of the day. Let me have the privilege of inviting Sri P.H. Kurian to light the ceremonial lamp and inaugurate the 4th edition of TiECon Kerala I would also request our guest of honor, Sri Shyam Srinivasan, and office bearers of TICON to join the chief guest. An auspicious beginning for TICON 2015. Our chief guest, Sri P.H. Kurian, the dynamic Principal Secretary of Government of Kerala, lights the ceremonial lamp. Our guest of honor, Sri Shyam Srinivasan, President of TI Kerala, Mr. A.B. George, Senior Vice President, Mr. M.S.C. Kumar, and finally, Vice President, Mr. Rajesh Nair. The ceremonial lamp has been lit. Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, a moment much awaited, TICON 2015 has rolled on. A unique opportunity for all young entrepreneurs to ride their dreams, spread wings for their innovative startups. And now, may I request our chief guest to ignite the energetic minds with his words. Welcome, sir.
Mr. A.B. George, Mr. Shyam Srinivasan, M.S.A. Kumar, Rajesh Nair, and the entrepreneurs, friends, invitees, delegates, a very good morning. I'm very fortunate to continuously attend all the 4 editions of TICON. The first TICON happened in 2012. By that time, we had the Emerging Kerala announcement of student entrepreneurship policy, starting of launching of Startup Village. Probably a few more things would have started by the time TICON started. And that year was very important for Kerala in the sense that government has taken seriously the entrepreneurship development as a policy initiative in 2012. And I came back from Government of India, and a lot of that responsibility in drafting things have come to me. And till today, we could continue on that thing. I am very conscious of the ecosystem, the lack of ecosystem that existed in Kerala, or the loss of entrepreneurial ecosystem in Kerala for half a century. I think in all the 4 TICONs here, I've been speaking about that. So it takes all difficult effort by a host of stakeholders to actually nurture a very live entrepreneurial ecosystem in the state. As I've been saying, we lost half a decade of good entrepreneurs from Kerala, lost to other parts of the world and other parts of the country. We need to actually, the coming generation, we cannot allow that to happen. In a society, large majority of them cannot have that entrepreneurial mindset, that fire in the belly. They will only have a few of them. But we require good entrepreneurs in a society to nurture and grow sustainably. We would require around 3 to 4% of its population to be good entrepreneurs. That should be the aim. Taekwondo has been doing a good job in doing that networking. I remember 2003 when Taekwondo was launched in Kerala. That day also I was present. And all these years I have been, because I'm an official, I'm not a member, I don't know what their charter says. They can't make me a charter member. Probably after my retirement, they will make me as a charter member. Need not be a charter member. It's all meeting of minds. And when you have a common mind, you can work together towards that. You had a good film which was shown. There was MSA and Jimon spoke about the entrepreneurial requirements of what we are happening around and all that. I would only recall at this time, while I was hearing them, I was saying that entrepreneurship as a word was never talked about when we were children. It was never. Business schools were teaching entrepreneurship as a subject much later. Entrepreneurs have been there for millennia, but the complexities of the world economy now requires to grow, you need a set of human beings who actually drives it. It has been there, but the requirement of that number probably is much more today. That's why globally you have entrepreneurship as a big move which is happening. Otherwise, I was looking at my life and see that how these things have become so important in 21st century. There could be a lot of economic theory interpretation for that as well. Let's not talk all those big things now. I only wanted to say one more thing. I mean, I just missed that. Just because of elections and complications, because that the cabinet had to meet today, and the CM and the industry minister could not be present. So they wanted me to convey their inability to attend today. CM was to inaugurate this. Industry minister was to be present. But I hope, I think CM will come tomorrow to this location. That's what he told me. He's trying to make it here tomorrow morning. I would also take 5-10 minutes to say what government has been planning all these 3-4 years and what we want to do. I couldn't imagine around 5 years or 6 years back the type of commitment that government is giving to this subject and the amount of money that government is keeping. I think I would say that it is all, for all the sin the society has committed to kill entrepreneurship in periods, we are paying now the finance for that thing, right? So a lot of money has been kept and policies have been brought in 4 years. The CM, the industry minister and the cabinet as a whole is very much behind this. And we could persuade the cabinet to actually declare that 1% of the budget will be kept for entrepreneurship development. And we have not fallen far behind. In last year's budget, if you see, it's almost 7.7% has come. Maybe in another 2-3 years, the 1% promise would come through. In the IT department alone, we have a budget of 80 crores this year, which is likely to go up to 100 crores. And rest of the departments for entrepreneurial development, if you take it, is around 450-500 crores of rupees is there in the plan. And if you put the non-planned money which is spent for that along together, it would be definitely 1%. That's the type of commitment government has given. I was looking at the journey from 2012. 2012, starting from the announcement of the student entrepreneurs policy on September 12th here on the Emerging Kerala occasion by the CM, we have gone a long way ahead. A long way ahead means we have so many events, so many programs, so many incubation centers, a lot of things have happened, and we are on the move. We have now more than 12 incubators in the state. I think the government of India approved incubators are 6 or 7. The rest of the things are the education institution level incubators. Sri Chitra has got a biomedical and electronics incubator quite recently. Government funded them for doing that thing. The NIC Calicut incubator is doing good. The state's own incubator in Technopark is doing very good. More and more people are coming. Startup Village as an incubator must have incubated around 100 companies by now. But none of them have become globally known this time. It might take more time. 4 years of working, I feel that there is an amount of satisfaction, but still We have not seen a global company emerging. It might take maybe some more time. We need to work together. We need to network. Charter members of TAI has to actually mentor the younger minds probably more. We have started with the student entrepreneurship policy, then went to a startup policy in 2013 or 14. A very good, I don't know how many of you sitting here has gone through the startup policy. It's a basic document giving support for innovative entrepreneurship. It gives a lot of support. I don't know whether TAI has given them and distributed a copy of things should have been much better for the youngsters to see. We will go on continuously keeping more and more money to support that. Then the next effort that we have taken is to create the move of entrepreneurial mindset in the students. Both entrepreneurial as well as technology mindset has to be created. And for that we started, all of you know, the Raspberry Pi distribution program. Last year we clubbed it with electronics kit distribution. And electronics teaching has become a part of the curriculum now. Computer programming has become a part of the curriculum from 2002 onwards, but now electronics also has become a part of the curriculum. So youngsters, we caught at that level of school. I don't think any other state in Kerala has done such a missionary program to catch students. So we would require probably a decade for the students which you are now encouraging to come up to have that high-tech startup coming. We will do that only one way. So do all that startup policy, incubator, technology and all that. A specific point which I want to speak, MSA has spoken part of that thing. I would say that the disruption in Kerala, what ICON should lead is to be in the agriculture. We have lost out in agriculture. Historically, Kerala has been a high productive agriculture and very hardworking farmers. Times have changed and that is all lost. The way we have been doing agriculture has to be disrupted. I have been discussing with Shivdas Menon on this. We need to disrupt the agricultural production scenario in Kerala. We need to create thousands of entrepreneurs in agriculture. And that is a real sustainable thing. Of course, they won't make billions and billions or something. But that is a very sustainable thing. That would actually disrupt the way people of Kerala thinks about enterprise. That is where you can reach every part of Kerala through an innovative way of doing agriculture. Agriculture as an enterprise, commercialize agriculture, produce more, use the best of technologies, and create more of entrepreneurship. I have now come across there are here and there pockets, people, we have formed companies or enterprises and doing a much better high-tech agriculture. Government in the agriculture department has given a lot of support for this, a lot of subsidies and all that. But that is alone is not sufficient. In that area, governmental effort is not sufficient. Organization like TAICON has to take it as a good bet. That is where I think you can drive disruptive system. You can create thousands of enterprise. My suggestion in this TAICON is that by next TAICON, we should have a clear-cut program. And this is very fast possibility as well. You see, the agriculture produce companies under the New Companies Act have come into existence. T.K. Jose of Coconut Development Board has created a NERA agriculture produce companies. It was a good shining example. They will have all initial teething problem. But in the same way, a lot of local people can come together, form companies, and disrupt the agriculture production system in Kerala. I think that is my earnest request this time. I would be one of the biggest supporters. I would also try my level best to put the government and policies behind this, to support this. That could be a good thing that you can work on. The Thai president is a big farmer himself. Last evening I was talking with him. You are the type of guys who have to take leadership in that thing. If you look today, high-tech, internet-based and all that, you have a way of doing that in Kerala. You're not going to have hundreds of them coming through that easily. So after 4 years of working with this, I've come to the conclusion that if you want to have a faster, that will have the entrepreneurial thinking in every part of the state. You can hold everybody towards that thing. You have students we caught, so many youngsters we caught. What about others? So the society as a whole, that our lost ecosystem has to be brought back through this. And in 21st century, there is enough possibility. You can apply technology there, you need computer technology, you need internet technology, you need all of that. Kumar was saying about some moisture system or something. In New Zealand, I saw a company, in New Zealand, because there's a lot of agriculture base is there, the way they are actually making those moisture sensors and manufacturing and selling throughout the world now to measure moisture, put computer system, a farm owner sits in his place, and he would be able to control this. That is the way system has come. So a lot of technology, computer technology, internet technology would be required even in farming when you go to that high-tech farming. So another way I'm looking at is a lot of youngsters from Kerala who are in the IT in other states want to come back. And since we don't have opportunity of that much in IT companies in Kerala, this is the way I'm actually interacting with them. Some of them would like to come back and start agriculture as an enterprise. So we need to actually network with all such people. And by next TICON, probably we should be able to make a big show in agricultural enterprise. And I give my full commitment, and I'll try to persuade the government to give as much as possible. The next area that TICON should do, if our entrepreneurial ecosystem has to grow faster, is a lot of reforms in government. I remember last year, on the same podium, I spoke about the same thing. That I lead that thing in the government to do the ease of doing business and all that, but that is a very, very difficult area. These are all the problems in Kerala why things are not looking up the way that we want. I wanted TICON, I wanted CII, where is Rajesh, where is Hari, he is in here. We had a lot of discussion, but the real thing is not coming through. TICON should actually work on that as well. That to create that, the processes and all that in the government and this thing to change. A lot of those things are required. Kerala is one of the most e-governed society now. A lot of e-governance activity is there. But still the changes that, there are some changes, but the ideal state of affairs have not come through. This is a very difficult area to crack. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. You have partial success there. But that change has to come through. The fear of government office has to go away. Any entrepreneur needs to deal at some level with the governmental guy. And that is a big fear in Kerala. People who are coming, entrepreneurs who are coming, businessmen who are coming out and sitting here, do have that fear. In individual cases, one of us may be able to help. But the mindset of bureaucracy in Kerala needs to change if things have to happen in a much better fashion. One need to work. I mean, this is not possible by people like me alone. That needs a total commitment, a total concerted action by various actors in society. And TICON could be one about that. To bring out this need, to make a great demand for doing that thing. Why are people not afraid of governmental offices and government officers? That needs to change. In many other states, for example, Bangalore or something, they also have a government. They have also a governmental system. But the fear is not there. There are obstructions there also. That fear is not there. 30 years in the surveys have this feeling that till people have that fear. If you look at Silicon Valley or something, none of them is afraid of government. They boldly move ahead. But here that fear has to go. It's one part. It's not that that's the only reason by which we go. But that part also needs to be worked. I'm trying doing something, but not really achieving there. I can't disclose all those obstacles there. But you all know, you are experiencing this. So we need to really work to change that. So I have two suggestions on this. One is to take agriculture. Two is to actually same sort of governance system which actually covers the entrepreneurial system, the fear of an entrepreneur dealing with government, the fear of repercussions coming from society, a lot of people opposing trade unionism, a lot of things comes to my mind. Those things needs to go. You need to have a fearless young guy on the move. And that is what is called that ecosystem, which has so many parts which we need to work on together. These are the 2 suggestions that I have to make in the 4th edition. Last year I made something, I know it, I don't want to repeat it. But this time, I've gone through what ICON has done in 1 year. I wanted them to give me a sort of written thing, and I got it. And that is so far good. So many activities, they did a lot of mentoring sessions. It's not that as a government I wanted to have a check on them. But really before you speak, you need to know what you have done. That this time I got it, and I'm very happy that ICON has taken very, very steps, number of mentoring sessions, a lot of mentors, all that thing. And I think for all of you, we must be very happy what ICON has done in 4 years. But the efforts are not sufficient. Very, very untiring efforts are required to change the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I'm very much aware of that thing. With these few words and suggestions, friends, I declare this ICON 2015 as inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your suggestions and for that thought-provoking, informative, and inspiring inaugural address. As a mark of our respect and gratitude for gracing this occasion with his presence, let's present a memento to our chief guest, Sri P.H. Kurian. I would request our President, Sri A.B. George, to present the memento to our chief guest. Thank you, sir. Sri Shyam Srinivasan, Managing Director and CEO of Federal Bank, is our guest of honor of the day. He has been instrumental in implementing various path-breaking initiatives like increasing the presence and visibility of Federal Bank to a national level. May I request Sri Shyam Srinivasan to deliver the keynote address.
Very good morning, everybody. Mr. Kurian, George, MSA, and Rajesh, and friends and colleagues, thank you for this opportunity. Like MSA mentioned, this is the 2nd year in running that Federal is delighted to work with TICON and bringing this conference to the state. And one question that I ask myself and many of my colleagues ask me is, how come a bank is actively involved in an event like this? What is the connection? And other than Mr. Balgopal, who was a founder member, who had no influence on this, and it just coincidence, voila, that we are actually, long before he joined our board, we had started sponsoring this. So lest you get the feeling that we're influenced by anybody. Our belief is that you may have seen in the opening video, the founder of Federal Bank was a visionary, was a inspired soul, who at a time when many were nervous to venture into building an institution as formidable as Federal is today, was an entrepreneur. At heart, he was an entrepreneur. His aspirations to build something lasting, his aspiration to influence society, his aspiration to help develop the communities around him. And those are values that dictate our presence even today. And in many ways, Federal's existence today, over 75% of our customers, be it retail or our larger businesses, are all from these small and medium establishments. Some of them were small when they started. Happily, they are big today and yet banking with us. We saw in the video a few of our, who I'm sure many years back started with us in a very small way, Mr. Ramchandran of Jyoti Laboratories, Coach Joseph, Synthite. All of them were probably, I would say, fledgling entrepreneurs in the early 60s, 70s, and today are dynamic business people having built an institution. So I think the linkage between why we are working with this and why we are keen to continue in this developing entrepreneurship is quite well established. About a month and a half ago, the Federal Bank board approved what today is probably the only bank in the country which has got what we call a startup fund. It is directed at looking at entrepreneurs, and initially we've just taken 2 locations. One is in Kerala and the other is Gujarat, where we're going to look at opportunities to stimulate, co-work, inspire entrepreneurs to actually achieve their dreams, and in the process build something quite special. So having established the theory that we are quite keen to be associated with anything entrepreneurial, as long as it has a relevant social or a business commercial purpose, I'm only too happy for Federal to be part of it. 2 months ago, Nandan Nilekani, all of us, many in this room probably have watched quite keenly his speech. He argued very forcefully that the banking industry is probably going at what he called the WhatsApp moment of banking industry. In case anybody has not watched it and you're interested in both the histrionics of how he is presented and what his vision is for, or what he thinks may happen in the period ahead, I'd urge you to watch it. It's a long speech, maybe 30 odd minutes, but it has some really telling impact. And we as a bank, while the banking industry in India, to those of you who follow us, is an established industry. Right? There are 45 odd players. Many are, keeping SBI aside, which has 25% of the market share. Many are still big players and established for over 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years. So one would argue that this is an established industry and little or very innovation is possible, and more importantly, it can't be threatened. And what is evident from this are 2 realities. One, technology is disrupting in a manner that none of us visualized things could change. And the regulatory ecosystem is changing at a rapid pace. I mentioned there are about 45 banks in India today. You'll be surprised that within a space of 12 to 18 months from now, there's going to be an incremental capacity of 45%. 23 new banks are set to come into the country in varying forms, whether it's a payment bank, it's a small bank, a universal bank. So I tried to Google to understand whether any industry category in the world, and I repeat, any industry category in the world which is reasonably mature has had an invasion of 45% competition within a span of 12 to 18 months, and the answer is no. Indian banking is going to face, in some ways, what Nandan pointed out, the WhatsApp moment. Something fundamental is challenging the banking system. Something fundamental is set to transform. Now, who comes out ahead, who is going to win, who looks better, who will gain market share, time will tell, performance will tell, and certainly nobody is going to be asleep at the wheel. If we are indeed asleep at the wheel, we're history. So whether it's in the startup phase, whether it's in the industry or agriculture, as Mr. Kurian pointed out, there is change, and there is change of a dynamic nature that is happening, and banking is no exception. And representing the banking industry, naturally, my thoughts are focused on that and trying to figure out how we, like I pointed out, is a bank that was born here 70 years ago, has now got a reasonably large national presence, has over 11,000 employees, with a mix of people who've been with us for 40 years and 40 days. I have the entire spectrum of employees with us, whose mindsets, whose orientations, whose social influences, whose cultural influences are so different. Somebody who started with us 40 years ago has a very different orientation versus somebody who's joined us in Ghatkopar 40 days ago. He just comes with a very different mindset. So the institution itself is going through its own phase of transitioning. Superimpose on that what is happening globally, or what is likely to happen in the market, is going to be it's a recipe for both excitement and challenge. Mr. Kurian pointed out over the last 4 or 5 years, lots of things have happened, and the state's ecosystem is certainly developing, is encouraging entrepreneurs. And I think I would draw a similarity to what I think is a phase of puberty or adolescence. What happens during puberty or adolescence, the body parts all grow at different phases. The head hand and legs grow faster than our arms and as I said, head, hands, and feet grow faster than your arms and legs. Now, this is not something that you and I can change. It's divine. It's the way it is. But what happens is the hormones start kicking in very differently. Exactly what is happening in the startup ecosystem, whether it's in Kerala or across the country. There are people evolving at multiple speeds. The system is changing quite dramatically. And over the last few days, I've been trying to understand this phenomenon, and in another platform where I had an opportunity to talk about the impact of new banks, I had said that, which MSA alluded to when he was introducing me, I had said that for a bank like us, what we are keen, and I truly hope we can live up to that, is digital at the core and human at the fore. And what do I mean by that is that in everything that we do and we think and we structure and we organize and we bring products and processes, we want to try and bring the influence of digital, therefore get the benefits of it. But at the front, the delivery is actually by the humans, and therefore we don't want to lose the essence of what we are and what we were founded for and what we want to be part of society. So in the face of all this competition, our story is that we want to be digital at the core and human at the fore. In trying to bring this together, I was trying to put together some thoughts. And I was looking at one of the very good speeches that came up in TED a few days ago. And I think his name is Patrick Forth, I'm not sure of his name, but a thought that he left has sort of stuck in my mind, and I'll try to paraphrase that through my next few points. There is an irresistible force, and there is an immovable object. The immovable object is what he calls the change monster, and the irresistible force is the technological disruption. And if we take our world today, whether it's banking or any industry that you represent or any industry that you may want to disrupt, these are realities. One, there is a force, there's an avalanche, there's a tsunami of stuff that is coming and hitting us, which is what we call the irresistible force. And there are established large organizations which are almost living in denial, and therefore there is an immovable object, a change monster that is you're living in denial. MSA pointed out that Kodak, today Kodak is, if you take a 10-year-old kid, he'll have to Google to find out what Kodak is or who Kodak was. And there are any number of examples. And between today and tomorrow, you're going to have any number of conversations that are going to be representing the innumerable innovations that are happening. And most of it ends up being in the product. Most of it ends up being in the space of leveraging technology, shrinking costs, making it faster. One such example I am personally very proud is our own product, which today, and to the best of my knowledge, no bank in the country, no bank in the world, certainly no bank in the country yet has it. 75% of my new business comes through that. Is anybody in this hall just sitting in this room, provided your 3G or your Wi-Fi works, you could open a bank account sitting here, just here and now. All you need is to take a selfie of yourself, key in your PAN number, scan your Aadhaar, the account is open, live operating account is open here just now. And I'm sure our team will have some demo of it in the stalls outside. But I think that suggests to one of the analysts on one of the shows who was referring to this, and it was not a sponsored show, he pointed out that technology we've been saying will disrupt. But here is a bank, and he was not very complimentary in his adjective use for federal, but he was complimentary in the product that we have launched. He said, he didn't expect it from a dodgy, old generation bank, but here is a product that can actually transform lives. And I'm quite proud he said that, because I don't want to be seen as far removed and unreachable. But yet I want to be seen as a bank that is able to deliver contemporary, capable, convenient, timely services. And I think that's the point I was mentioning as digital at the core and human at the fore. And I think that marriage is what we want to be true to, and I'd encourage most of us to be devoted to. So MSA mentioned that I use acronyms in most of my speech, so I'll try to bring in just 4 thoughts and try to paraphrase it with an acronym. We've been speaking about digital and disruption. So for my first thought, therefore, goes to D, which is naturally digital and disruption. I gave you an example of selfie as what I think is a digital disruption in the banking industry. Nandan Nilekani, in his very speech, which is, I think, quite a compliment, he spanned the market for 40-odd banks, and he said, this product is completely, of course, we use Aadhaar, which is his baby, so naturally there is an affinity to this product, but he pointed out how the industry dynamics are changing so dramatically by just using the identification that is universally available for 90 crore Indians today. You know, there's a phenomenon that is happening. There are about 100 million phones, 100 million Aadhaar and 100 million bank accounts. Just visualize the power of that three for anything and everything, for commerce, for industry, for agriculture, for whatever. These three, and what the ministry talks about as the JAM, Trinity, which is the Jandan, which is the accounts, the Aadhaar, and the mobile. That's the Trinity that is set to change the dynamics of the whole place. Now, if we ignore this whole digital disruption, we're doing it at our own peril. And so that's my first point, the D. The second is around, we often speak about analytics and information. Wherever you go today, if you're in any kind of industry, if you're in any kind of business, people are talking about big data, are talking about analytics, are talking about information. I would urge us to go a step ahead. Analytics and information is not the end. It's the insight which is the end. You know, just saying that my name is so-and-so, I was born here, I do A, B, C, has no meaning. But the so what of it? What do I infer from it? What is the insight I can take away from it? How do I use that analytics to be something more profound? And therefore, I can tailor and personalize products is going to be, I think, quite significant in the way ahead. And therefore, the second sort of thought I would say after the D would be the A, which is the analytics part. The third, which is which I would sort of turn to, is reject convention. You look at any large business or large valuation, you can't quite say business as yet, that has come up in the last 5 to 7 years. Take our own Flipkarts of the world, take our own Snapdeals and OYO, and pick one. Or the ones that MSA put up in his slides, the Ubers, the Alibabas, whoever they are, they didn't believe that an existing system and the existing convention is relevant, and they wanted to ensure that it has to be either broken, penetrated, or the landscape of that environment has to be changed. Now, what's facilitating is that the ecosystem is changing, the mindsets of the world is changing. Today, it's no longer unfashionable to say my son is going into being an entrepreneur. 25 years ago, it was taboo. If I said my son was going to be an entrepreneur, they would think he's a reject from school. But today, in the IITs and the IIMs and the premium schools actually turn out more entrepreneurs than the equal, I can't say than, it's equally from any other institute. I think, therefore, rejecting convention. Now, in the context of being human at the fore, we are talking about trying to ensure that in large established organizations, which is what we are, there are embedded practices, there are constituents who are hugely defensive, living in denial. If I take my own team, from any level, from myself down to the most newest entrant into the bank, there are established views, there are conventions, and naturally that is restrictive. We don't want to be disrespectful of compliance, but we have to be confident enough to reject that certain practices which were done for a different time has no meaning now. So rejecting convention, that's the third point, which is the R. The last and sort of final thought is around evangelizing experimentation. Any number of entrepreneurs, you quiz them, you talk to them, they will actually talk about more of their failures and what they learned from the failures. Nobody was an instant success. I heard Mr. Kochi Yosef talk about the failures and then only, or Mr. Narayan Murthy talk about, in the snips about Mr. Narayan Murthy, his failures versus what produced success. So I think the experimentation is a large part, and the R and the E, which is the reject convention and the evangelizing experimentation, are thoughts that talk to the human dimension of who we are. The digital and the analytics talks to the core of technology, and therefore the marriage of the D-A-R-E is what I would push for our entrepreneurs to be looking at, is dare. And we heard one of our speakers talking about, if you dare, nobody ever has broken anything if they have no, like they say, you can't make omelets without breaking eggs, right? So I think dare is the theme of today and tomorrow's conference. And as entrepreneurs, to stimulate yourselves, try and ensure that you are indeed capable of looking at life through both the lenses, through the digital lens, through the human lens, and ensure that indeed, if you dare, I think success is at our doorstep. So thank you very much. Have a great conference.
Digital at the core and human at the fore. Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts and bringing your insights into this august forum. Now, I would request our President, Sri A.B. George, to hand over a memento to Sri Shyam Srinivasan. Thank you, sirs. Ladies and gentlemen, next on our agenda is a book release. The book titled Adikayan, meaning Colossus in Malayalam, is the biography of the legendary K.P. Paul, who strode the Kerala business arena like a colossus for 68 years, from 1939 to 2007. Founder of Popular Automobiles and Kutugaran Group, he started the business with a mere 150 rupees, which has now a turnover of 3,000 crore rupees. The book, written by Sri Sajil Sridhar and published by Madhrubhumi Books, bring out three facets of the person: the entrepreneur, the humanist, and man of values. I would now request Mr. Francis K. Paul of Popular Automobiles to hand over the book to our chief guest, Sri P.H. Kurian. Our chief guest will now release the biography Adikayan and hand over the first copy to Sri A.B. George, the President of TiE Kerala. Release of the book Adikayan, which will serve as a handbook for entrepreneurs, for those in business, and for those who want to lead a life based on values. Biography of legendary K.P. Paul. I would request Sri A.B. George. Thank you very much, sirs. We have two fully packed days ahead where founders of successful startups and renowned industrialists will share their experiences. The exhaustive event flow shown in your program schedule might seem a bit overwhelming, so Mr. Rajesh Nair, Vice President of TiE Kerala, will brief us about the program, which will be followed by a vote of thanks. Sri Rajesh Nair, Charter Member and Vice President of TiE Kerala, is currently the Director of Ernst & Young LLP based out of Kochi.
Distinguished dignitaries on the stage and off the stage, dear friends, and a lot of young audience. What we have this time, which is the fourth edition of TiECon, is slightly different from what we have tried in the last three times. And in the spirit of times where Jimon sir said that, disruption and innovation are words which have quickly come into the management lexicon and which are becoming very popular words, we thought of doing something differently this time. And to do that, we actually talked to a lot of people. And if you look at just sheer analytics of the last three editions of TiECon, you would broadly see that most of the participants in the TiECon were people who were around 40, between 35 and 40 to be exact. And while the TiE office normally gets queries of seed funds and mentoring from a much younger crowd, so deliberating on what to do in that, in that forum, we spoke to a lot of youngsters, and some very interesting comments came up. They said that, you bring in a lot of good speakers every year, but all these speakers are available on YouTube. So why don't I just sit at home and watch larger speeches and longer speeches just on YouTube? So what's the value in, my coming and doing it? attending a conference and hearing it in front of, in between others. So our take is something slightly different, which I'll explain later. But at the outset, we thought that we have to make the TiCon a lot more experiential. So which means it's not just sitting and imbibing, but it has to be a lot more of networking. It has to be a lot more of discussions. It has to be a lot more of interactions. And that's the seeding of the idea that we have, and we have the Startup Pavilion this year, where close to 100, and in fact, the earlier press conferences, we said that we will have 30 startups, but the overwhelming response forced us to have close to 150 startups in the CSM hall downstairs. So let me quickly take you through what you can expect this year. Again, like last year, the first half of the first day and the second half of the second day, we split into, we are in this common venue, and the other sessions, which means the second half today and the first half tomorrow, we will have what we call as parallel tracks, where there are different things happening in different halls. Just after this, we will have a panel discussion with young entrepreneurs, and we have a panel of 4 people, which is being moderated by SR sir. And we will see what are their interests and what are their ethos in this changing world. We then have 3 entrepreneurs, some of my favorite people, favorite entrepreneurs in the world. We have Balasan, we have Shivdas sir, and we have Sanjay, who will come and talk about that entire journey in their minds when they start something and then they exit out of it totally. So where we hope Balasan will share that story of creating a world-class enterprise in Kerala, and we will hear how Shivdas sir even today looks at making agriculture glamorous and interesting. We will hear Sanjay, who's tried multiple diverse industries and made fortunes for himself and made fortunes for people along with him. So that story is what we will have before lunch. Post lunch, we will break. We will have 2 sessions on innovation and disruption here, where the focus has been to get a lot of funds. People who invest in some of these disruptive ideas, they will tell you about what they are seeing around the world and what they are seeing in India in particular. We have the tourism track, which, like every year, will be a very interesting track with a lot of speakers. You must have read this, or you must have heard of this World Bank report, which says that as an industry, besides manufacturing, tourism generates maximum number of employment for every rupee which is invested in tourism. So we want to hear that story from some of them. Post that, we have some very interesting keynotes. So we have a very young speaker who's 10 years old, and she'll come and talk about inventions. So 10 years old, I was reading comics and watching Tom and Jerry, and now we have entrepreneurs at the age of 10. So we will hear her story. We have a very interesting engineering venture, in fact, which was initially identified by Kurian sir long back. And we want to hear their story about how they will change the engineering mechanics of small boats and create value for all these small boat operators, and in turn the exchequer of of not just Kerala but several states in India. So that story. We have an awards function like last year. We give 4 awards. GVR sir headed the panel, so he will announce the awards in the evening. Tomorrow morning, which is one of the attractions that we have publicized and you must have read in the papers as well, as we have Gopi Kalail coming and doing a keynote. Gopi is the chief evangelist of Google, which means he evangelizes a lot of small investments which Google makes, and he works with entrepreneurs day in, day out, and it will be a very interesting story to hear. Like what Kurian sir said, and I think the spirit of a lot of TiE activities in 2016, the coming year, is also to look at some new sectors, and we want to promote those sectors actively, besides, of course, IT and ITES, which at some level now doesn't require too much of fillip. Agriculture is a sector that we are very seriously looking at, and you will see multiple events, multiple initiatives. We are also thinking of an Agri 25, where we will identify 25 agri ventures and try to mentor and adopt some of these ventures. The agri track again will have lots of speakers. We are shifting the agri track to the main venue because we feel that it needs that kind of extra impetus. And as I said earlier, we want a lot of youngsters to move into, to look at agri-ventures very, very seriously. We'll have IT, like every year. I'm sure IT is a track which, which is finding interest, which is seeing a lot of developments. We have a lot of IT majors coming into Kerala now. We have a social entrepreneurship track, which this year we are trying up with Wilgrow. Wilgrow does funding of social entrepreneurs, and they are partnering. We will have speakers from there, and they will also be visiting the pavilions, etc. We have a session on innovative funding models where investors from different areas, angels, investors, and serial entrepreneurs, sitting out here in the main stage and talking about it. We have a very interesting story of going to school by Lisa Heidloff. Lisa has come here. In the first two Tycons, she came and spoke about this entire initiative of looking at entrepreneurship education in schools, especially focusing on the girl students. What is interesting is whatever she said during those years, she's actually done this, and she's done this in Bihar. And some of you may have even heard that the statistics in terms of number of children going to schools in Bihar has significantly increased, and the erstwhile Chief Minister Nitish Kumar actually said that going to school has a hand to play in it. Lisa will come and tell us that story. We are seeing urbanization around us. Kochi, of course, right now we are not seeing the positive aspects. We are seeing traffic jams, and we are seeing the dirty roads because of the metro construction. But over a period of time, infrastructure will create a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. It will also create an ecosystem which is very fundamental to entrepreneurs. So we will have Joyman sir, who actually did this in Naya Raipur in Chhattisgarh during his earlier tenure as an IS officer. We'll have Roshan coming and talking about the Skyway to Prosperity. 3-4 times more investors than what we have normally had. And we will have all of them visit the Startup Pavilion. Even if you don't have investing interests, please visit the Startup Pavilion. You will get an actual feel of what's happening in Kerala. And you will get an actual idea of what are the ideas which these youngsters are trying to, which is a much better track compared to what we have done the last 2 years. We are learning every year. We will have close to 15 odd mentors sitting in different times. These sessions are open today, second half, and tomorrow, first half. Please fill up the forms for mentoring if you want to do. It's a first come, first serve thing because a lot of you have not registered on the net. So do come and get some of your business ideas and get some of your business issues talked about. We are having IIM Kozhikode's Management Consulting Club partnering along with us for this event. So that's another partnership that we are. Kurian sir at some level is like a difficult parent. Every year when we want the government partnership and sponsorship, we go to Kurian sir, and for the first 10 minutes, he will be angry, furious, blasting us, checking, what have you done in the last 1 year? Why have I not seen this? Why have I not seen that? So we just, we look at our shoes and keep sitting and listening. But at the end, as every year, like the last 4 years, he comes up and he comes in as a strategic partner, and he gives us funds for, significant funds for each of our 4 events, which he's done. Again, we are very grateful to you, sir. Shyam, I don't think there should be a management conference in Kerala without Shyam speaking, because he has insightful ideas, and each time, not just the abbreviations. And in fact, when he spoke about digital at the core, human at the fore on the CNBC, suddenly we were all exchanging messages, Hari, etc. And all of us were saying, how does he get all these, fancy one-liners? And that's what Shyam is. I think we, as a bank, Federal helped us last time. We see it as the ideal partner for a conference on disruption, because they are, as Mr. Nilekani pointed out in the Thai Leapfrog event, that they are doing a few things which is making the world look at them. And I can put my hand on my heart and say that there is nothing dodgy and small about Federal Bank anymore. And what we intend to do is not just this partnership, but we will tie up with Federal through the year, not just for events, but activities where we see meaning in entrepreneurship, like the action, what they are planning on the startup front, the Skills Academy, all these areas TIE will actively participate in this year. I don't want to mention the name of all these sponsors, but we are all here, and we've been able to do this conference. because of the support of all of them. Just two things I want you to remember. Again, just for the, at the risk of repetition, there are 150 startups on the ground floor here. And even if you don't have interests in terms of investing and in terms of, getting into partnerships, visit them, ask them questions. For them, it should be a great experience of having answered some of these questions. They will get questions which they should be answering, they should be putting in their business plans, etc. We owe it to them to give them advice and give them this. Thanks a lot. We look for real-time feedback. Any problems you have during the, feel free to come to the Thai help desk, which is on this floor just outside this room. And hope all of you will have a wonderful time. And I'll again come in the evening tomorrow to quickly sum up what we have seen in the last two days. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to the end of the inaugural session. I would now request our dignitaries escorted by Thai officials to kindly move to the CSM hall for the inauguration of the Startup Pavilion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending the inaugural session.